Let me ask you a question. What on earth makes us love scary movies so much? Is it the fact that they give us the ability to be scared out of our minds without actually being in those dire situations for real? You can absolutely be addicted to the emotion of fear. Again, just as long as you're not in any actual real danger. Well, today we got a few stories involving NBA players that definitely wasn't no movie. The fear was very much real. NBA fans beware, you're in for a scare. You know how you wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and you just pray to God that you don't see something lurking in the dark on your way there? Well, rapper Fat Joe actually did experience something frightening like that in the studio one night. Just last year, he sat down with Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes on the All the Smoke podcast and told a true story about how back in 2008, he thought he was literally going to die.
I walk in there one night, I'm supposed to be in the studio, and it's pitch black. I walk in there, there's a shadow of a human being this big in the dark. And I said, holy shit, they came to kill me.
He then, like all of us would do, rushed to turn on the light to satisfy his curiosity. And what he saw was what he least expected.
I turn on the light. There's Shaquille O'Neal. I said, Shaq,
Give him a shit yourself.
what's going on? He said, they just traded me to Phoenix, big fella. I wanted you to be the first to know. I was going to die!
He was relieved to discover that it was just Shaq who wanted to tell him that he'd just been traded to Phoenix. But man, when it was still unknown what exactly that shadowy figure was, you can't really blame Fat Joe for thinking that somebody was waiting there to kill him. Imagine seeing a silhouette of Shaq's size in the dark all the way in the distance. Anyone would crap their pants right there on the spot. Shaquille O'Neal might be a big lovable teddy bear in reality, but all of that would be the last thing on your mind if you were to encounter him the way Fat Joe did back in 2008. Now, perhaps something that is as equally terrifying is when you feel like you're losing your mind. Allen Iverson recently revealed a scary experience he had when he was in his early 20s back in the 90s, while hanging out with the notorious B.I.G. and Lil C's. They were just having a normal smoke session in the studio, when all of a sudden things would take a turn for the worse. In order for us to set the stage, we have to mention the kind of t-shirt Iverson was wearing, because it happens to play a huge role in this creepy story. Iverson was wearing a shirt that had Janet Jackson's famous 1993 Rolling Stone cover on the front, and what proceeded to happen when he excused himself to the bathroom will give you chills.
Remember the Janet Jackson shirt? That the Janet Jackson face, and it had the man. It was on the cover of a magazine.
He then goes on to describe something that seriously freaked him out.
Man, I'm looking in the mirror, and the shirt was not her face, it was an alien face. I'm looking in the mirror and I'm tripping. Like I'm wiping the shirt off, you know, like I'm thinking that it's supposed to be her, but it's this alien cartoon character. So I'm tripping.
He would go on to say how he couldn't feel his feet and that he tried to make his way back to the studio where everyone else was at, but somehow kept ending up back in the bathroom. Then, once he finally made his way back, he found the answer to what went wrong.
Big or C, one of them was like, "You smoking again?" And I was like, yeah. And he was like, "Well, what you want? The hash or the chronic?" And I was like, "Hash?" And they was like, "Yeah, that's what you were smoking last time." And I'm like, "Oh my God." You know what I mean? Like, that's why I'm tripping.
After that, he told his friends that they had to get out of there ASAP. And when he got back to his hotel room, he said that the room was spinning. He calls it the scariest night of his life. One of the more common plots used in scary movies revolves around stalking, because we all know that that would be a living nightmare if we were ever in a situation like that. And believe it or not, it happens to NBA players more often than you might think. I've talked about Ray Allen's crazy stalker numerous times on this channel. Zach LaVine had an unwanted visitor show up at his door refusing to leave just last year. Steph Curry found himself in a sketchy situation back in 2015 when he noticed a fan stalking him on the road for nearly 30 minutes following his car in the middle of the night. And of course, how could we forget about the time a woman randomly wandered on the court allegedly looking for Kenyon Martin.
This lady has a history with the Nuggets. I talked to a couple of the detectives. Detective Todd Erickson, who had immediately grabbed her and walked her off the court, said several years ago she was found stalking or following several players. She has basically been banned from the arena, but she got in tonight.
Her father later came out and said that the police misidentified her as Kenyon's stalker. But we can't just ignore the fact that the security guards said that she said, "Where's Kenyon?" One that you might not have heard about involves Dennis Rodman back in 1999 when he was a member of the Lakers. That year, Rodman's life was in serious danger, all because a woman developed a massive obsession with him. Reportedly, she was desperate to form a romantic relationship with him, but Rodman wasn't all that interested. A normal person would just take the L and move on, but this woman stepped it up a notch. She made hundreds of attempts to get in touch with Rodman, trying to contact him through email and phone calls, but was unsuccessful, leading to her threatening to murder him and his agents. Man, and I thought Rodman was the crazy one. Now, every single one of those instances I just mentioned are without question disturbing, but I found this last one particularly spine-tingling. We can only imagine how stressful it must be for a rookie to have to leave everything behind and start a new life somewhere else after getting drafted. But being forced to move again almost immediately due to a stalker is a whole different level of stress. That's exactly what Jordan Bell had to deal with back when he was a rookie with the Golden State Warriors in 2017. He and his girlfriend were terrorized by a random man as soon as he moved to the Bay Area. Somehow, the man found out Jordan Bell's address with the help of Instagram. This is the exact photo Bell would later go on to regret posting. A picture of himself and his dog standing on the balcony of his apartment. He didn't think that someone would actually try to look for clues in this photo to figure out his location, but he was dead wrong. The details I'm about to share with you guys are extremely unsettling. I kept seeing him every day. He was standing outside wearing glasses and had a backpack, Bell said. I'm thinking he's just a fan who wants an autograph, but he was there every single day. He would go on to say that his girlfriend was walking their dog outside one day when, out of nowhere, the same man came up behind her and said, "Is Jordan here?" She understandably freaked out and said that he looked like a creep. And that was the last straw. Jordan knew that they had to move as soon as possible. Quote, "You see stuff like that in the movies, but I never thought it would actually happen to me."